Hi everyone, I wanted to sit down and do a proper, honest update about my Mirena experience. Because I'm now about 8 months in, and things have changed again. This isn't a dramatic video and it's not a horror story, but it also hasn't been the smooth, straightforward experience I was really hoping for. And I think it's important to talk about that honestly. Before I continue, just a quick heads up, this video talks about surgery and reproductive health. Nothing graphic, but if you're family or you've got kids around, this might be one to skip or come back to later. Don't worry, if you're skipping it, there is plenty of other videos to watch and I won't be offended. If you're new here, a bit of context. I had surgery in May last year and had the Mirena inserted as part of managing ongoing pelvic pain. This wasn't a decision I made lightly. It came after a long time of symptoms, appointments, heavy periods, cramps, and trying to figure out what might actually improve my quality of life. When I had the surgery, the results were complicated. There was no visible endometriosis, which on paper sounds like good news, but what they did find was multiple adhesions. Adhesions are essentially bands of scar tissue that cause organs in the pelvic region to stick to each other when they're not meant to. They can restrict movement, pull on surrounding areas, and cause ongoing pain even without active endometriosis being present. My surgeon even explained that one of my ovaries was stuck to my uterus and had become adhered in a way that involves surrounding tissue. Hearing that explanation helped explain a lot of the pain I'd been experiencing, but it was also confronting to realize how much was going on internally without it showing up as something more obvious. And that's not to say it wasn't endometriosis, just that it was small enough, if it was there, to not show up visibly. Anyway, after surgery and the Mirena insertion, the first few months were honestly rough. I had a lot of cramping, pain flare-ups, and days where I felt completely wiped out. There was a lot of second guessing, a lot of hospital waiting rooms, and a lot of being told that this part was normal and that my body just needed time to adjust. I did agree to trial it for at least 6 months, and I have made it to that point. Eventually, things did start to improve a little. There was maybe a couple of months where the pain eased significantly. I wasn't cramping constantly. I wasn't organizing my life around pain. And I really thought, okay, maybe this is working. Maybe my body is finally starting to settle. During that phase, I let myself hope a bit. I stopped counting days, stopped bracing myself every morning, and that alone felt like a huge relief. But more recently, things have shifted again. The pain has returned, and not in a mild or manageable way. If anything, it's come back worse, like full force times 20. At first, I tried to downplay it. I told myself it might just be temporary, or stress related, or even my fibro and my body having an off week. But it kept escalating, and it reached a point where I couldn't ignore it anymore. I ended up at my family doctor, and during that appointment, the pain was literally so intense that I was doubled over in front of her, not even able to function. That moment was a wake-up call for all of us. Something needed to be done. When you live with long-term pain, you start minimizing it. You tell yourself other people cope, So you should too, that this is your new normal. But sitting there like that made it very clear this wasn't something I should just be tolerating or accepting. Thankfully for me, my GP took it seriously, which I'm really grateful for, and I've now been re-referred to gynecology. So we're back in the space of further investigation, reassessment, and figuring out what's actually going on, especially in the context of my surgical findings and the Mirena. This includes looking at whether I have to have another surgery again and what the best options are. Emotionally, this has been exhausting. I'm frustrated, I'm tired, and I'm honestly over being stuck in a cycle of wait and see when waiting still means being in pain and bleeding whenever. You know, like at the drop of a hat, no warning, suddenly, oh, there's more. There's also a grief element to it. Thinking something was finally helping, then realizing you're not actually on the other side yet. It's really hard. It messes with your trust in your body and your confidence in treatment options. My trust was already thin with having fibro and ME, and then so to add that in there was really hard. At the same time, I do want to say this. I'm really glad I pushed for help. I'm glad I didn't downplay it. And I'm glad that my doctor saw me as a teammate and listened instead of brushing it off as something I just had to live with. I also want to be really clear, this is just my experience. I know that Mirena works incredibly well for some people, and I don't want this to scare anyone. I also know there are people in my situation who are quietly struggling, wondering if what they're feeling is normal. If you're in pain, especially pain that's persistent, worsening, or affecting your ability to function, that matters. You deserve to be listened to, and you deserve proper follow-up. I don't have all the answers yet. I don't exactly know what the next steps will look like. But I wanted to share this update because it reflects where I'm actually at now, not just the version of treatment that sounds good on paper. It also shares why I have been away a bit. I'll keep updating as things progress, and if you're navigating something similar, I just want you to know you're not alone. My advice, and I'm sure you've received much of it, is to do your research and make sure you have the right hormone treatment for you. The Mirena, like I said, is amazing for some people, but for those of us with progesterone sensitivities, it may not be the optimal choice. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next update when I know more. Bye, lovelies.